Okay, welcome back to part two of how to build a great sales organization, amazing, successful, predictable sales organization for your business. So I'm here with Gregg Wallick once again. This is Ryan with FollowUp Power. Second one, first one was who are we? Second one is the roles and responsibilities. There's a lot of different kind of hats that could be worn in the construction business.
You know, okay. As I talk with contractors around the country, everybody defines a salesperson differently.
It's true.
Yeah,
I can attest to that.
Yeah, sometimes a salesperson sells, does the takeoff, does the estimate, even project manages it, and they call that person a salesperson. So you've got really 4 different components, really 5 different components if you look at the field operations that have to take place. So if we're talking about just sales, you got to have a takeoff, you got to have an estimate, and then you got to have somebody who's presenting to the client. Now presenting, you know, what does that mean? Does that mean just sending a bid in?
Is that just emailing a bid?
Yeah, is that just emailing a bid, or does it actually mean going down sitting down with somebody and actually building the project on their desk?
What do you guys do?
Well, because we've chosen to be relationship focused, I even scold our sales team. Right. You never just send a bid. You always present a bid.
Right. We talk about that, like as you're selling, we're really professional communicators, right? And 55% of communication is nonverbal. It's your tonality. So right now, as you're watching us, we're communicating when, in addition to what we're saying. And secondly, it's 38% of communication is tonality, and then 7% is the actual words you say. So when you email your $150,000 price of a project, you're limiting yourself to about 7% of your ability to persuade them, which is reduced down to what? The price, pretty much. So now you can't
it's all about price.
You can't create value.
Yeah, it's all about price.
And I know you guys aren't watching this because you want to be low bidder on every project. You want to create value. And so that's a good tip there, is I think face-to-face. I highly encourage that as well.
Let's talk about the difference between a real salesperson and an estimator.
Let's talk about it.
The best salespeople that I hire, they're usually extroverts. They have a personality. They can connect with somebody.
Yeah.
And the best estimators are usually introverts.
Yeah.
People who are very calculated. They're good with spreadsheets. They're very analytical. So my experience was, and again, I told you, I exhausted everything wrong before I figured out what was right, is that my best salespeople always were my worst estimators.
Right.
My best estimators were my worst salespeople. They were just bidders. They were great at figuring a job, great at calculating what that price was going to be, but they really just weren't great communicators, didn't connect with the client the way they should. Yeah. So what I eventually ended up doing was segregating those 2 responsibilities. Estimators, I let them estimate, and they love that. They love that. They never were happy about talking.
I've heard a guy say before at the estimating program, he's like, it's like I'm playing a video game every day.
Right. Yeah.
And they just love the boo boo ba ba bow, And then you got your good sales guys. I've seen them. They can't sit still for more than 2 seconds.
Right.
They go crazy.
Yeah.
They're joking and poking and that's like a team, right? I played baseball, you played football. Imagine your lineman playing wide receiver, and imagine your wide receivers.
Yeah, you're out of position.
Right.
You're out of position. Now, what though? You have to be at a scale, though. You have to be at a scale where you have enough activity that you can support a full-time estimator, that you can support a full-time salesperson.
At what point did you say, time to departmentalize, specialize? Was there like, should people be looking at a revenue kind of objective, more of a capacity constraint? You got to have the right people that you can even shift that stuff around. There's a lot of moving parts to that. But how about for you? Like, when was that decision made, and was there a critical juncture for you?
When I got to a point where I had 2 people in my sales department, 2 people. I split it up and I said, this one's going to sell and this one's going to estimate. And they actually did their own takeoffs also. So they did the takeoff and did the estimate, and I never let them get in front of a client. They didn't even let them talk to a client.
Right.
I always had that person who was like the face of the company do the speaking to the client.
Yes, that's awesome. Very good. I've seen that happen with my clients and our users at FollowUp Power, and they've made that adjustment. But I think you just got to have the right talent first. You got to really have enough activity. You got to make sure that you can coordinate the workflow and the ball's not dropped, because now you just gave it the baton to somebody, and you
got to have a good workflow coordinator.
And you can get that with our software if you don't have it already. So a little shameless plug, okay? But no, that's really good. So salespeople, estimating, we can even break this out another level, business development,
Right.
You can even go another layer out front.
Yeah, where do the leads come from?
Sure.
And who's responsible for the leads? Do you expect your salesperson to be doing prospecting? That's a form of marketing.
Sure.
Sure. What I have grown to was where I actually have a full-time business development department that their responsibility is to just generate opportunities for us.
And they qualify as well, because they know who we are, they know who our client is, they're focused. They can sift one out before they waste your precious time and resources in account management and estimating to go through that process.
The best situation is when you have your salespeople full-time selling and not prospecting.
Right. So food for thought there. You may feel like, wow, I just drank from a fire hose. That's a lot to think about, but it works, and seen it happen. And is there any other thoughts? It's pretty good. So go ahead and chew on that, and we'll see you at the next one.